Hello and aloha pa to all the Baha'is of the world. 12:53, almost 1 o'clock, and today is 3rd of August. July is finished. My name is Abbas Tamori. This message tonight was addressed to the American Baha'is, also the Canadians, British, Australian, and people of New Zealand, those of Anglo-Saxon race, mainly. If you're watching this video, you should know that I have been excommunicated from the Baha'i community for the reasons that are seriously flawed. But in my case, the situation and matter was derogatory. Even when I was in Iran, 18 years old at the time of Shah, when I became Baha'is, my friend Tawheed was suffering to be a friend with me. Because the Baha'is in Iran, even they would say that, why are you friend with this Muslim boy? And he would say that he's a registered Baha'i under National Spiritual Assembly of Iran. Why do you say he's not a Baha'i? They said Muslim could not be trusted. And so they shunned him so much so that he had to leave his area somewhere else. He actually caused a lot of problem in his life. Before he says that today, I was talking to him, he said, never had a problem until such time I met you. So, and of course, revolution comes, and then the Baha'is, they saw that, no, I'm not an agency or anything to do with the regime and this and that. And I married and I went to India. In India, the matter was the same thing. The Persian Baha'is in that community of Trichy were still saying suspicious things about me and all that. Thanks God, the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of India were not listening to those things. And I was appointed to teach in the first Baha'i Youth Academy in India under Counselor Afshin, a marvelous individual. So finally we came to Canada in 1984. This matter continued here. At around 1984, I received a letter from the National Spiritual Assembly of Canada, just about a couple of months in Canada, that they are taking my administrative right because I've written a letter on my own, printed it, distributed it, against the wish of the local spiritual assembly. I mean, lies has a limit. But this is really, it was preposterous because I never wrote a letter. So I approached the local spiritual assembly of Thunder Bay. Those days, Philip Spakowski and Bahram Dadgostar, they were there and telling them what's going on with this letter. They said, we do not know. We haven't reported anything against you. As about the letter, it says that they're cutting me off in Canada. Then we found out a fellow by the name Terry Nesbitt, who was not a Baha'i, and he thought, just like himself, I've just become Baha'i of the convenient. He even told me that me and you both know these things are all BS. I didn't know what he meant. I told him, if you mean Baha'i faith, I am a Baha'i, brother. And I'm not just one. All these Baha'is, Iranian, they're all Muslim. They become Baha'i later. So he created a lot of problem, including stealing the seal of the local assembly and sending a letter those days to Douglas Martin, which I think he was smart enough, as English people are, to ask me to comment on it, and I commented on that. Clearly, it was clear. I wasn't exonerated at all. Nobody came to ask me anything. Anything. This matter was just gone. We started teaching. I went into work, a contractor, climbed the ladder to install siding and eavesdropping and whatnot. I started a great teaching project in 5 years plan around 1990, those times, in Thunder Bay. A lot of people came into Baha'i faith, mainly youth. Before you know, I had another letter coming that they're cutting my administrative right again. So what is this time now? One lady, I don't know, Carolyn Bowie, saying that I'm not a Baha'i and this and that. So we went to an Indian reservation to see a fellow by the name of Alex Half. This Indian man actually started to attack me physically, to beat me up, to say that I'm a covenant breaker. A friend of mine that was with me says that, why are you saying that about him? We're teaching Baha'i faith based on the books that's published. We're not saying anything ourselves. It's thief in the night, you know, this and that. But then we found out, he said that, you know, Caroline must have talked to him. So it's all based on assumptions. You know, this issue went on. So it created a huge problem between me and National Spiritual Assembly of Canada. Matter went on. I always talking to God that, what is going on in Baha'u'llah? What have you made? Trying to save people and problem, but look. Trying to always find out how this good individual Canadian Baha'is, I'm sure Americans, Australian, British, were the same. So what's going on? I mean, flaws have a limit. I study the faith. I had a dream, a vision. All my life has been vision, by the way. If you want to know, Baha'i faith, there's recorded maybe a couple thousands of dreams of the people who had a vision they became Baha'i. Even in the United States, the little boy was dreaming of Jesus Christ, and his mother found the picture of Abdul-Baha in the magazine Parlor, how she became Baha'i. Vision and dreams, you know, was kind of intertwined with this faith and beliefs in people. I had this vision. Abdul-Baha asked me to, he said to me, you're one of the elders. I knew what, okay, I'm one of the 24 elders, he said. He actually scolded me. He said many times, I told you, you're one of these 24 elders and do something. To be honest with you people, I didn't know what he means. What am I supposed to do? So I brought a friend of mine from Cornwall, Ontario to come and help me in Prince George. He ended up teaming up with my wife, and they went on and, you know, let me down. And so I went to write a letter to Universal Laws of Justice about what's happening, you know. That's just final, you know. So this is the infallible Universal Laws of Justice, whatever they say. But the subject changed. For some reason, I discovered that the Baha'i administration, as we say, you know, the formative age, is not over, is not yet. Baha'i faith is not finished. Why? Because right in some answered question says, in this religion there are 24 guardians. Read it for yourself. I was trying to find out who are these guardians. Aren't these the same guardians that Shoghi Effendi says future guardians? But then the dilemma was that Shoghi Effendi didn't have a child. How is he talking about future guardians? But in light of guidance, he says that regarding the 4 and 24 elders, they are the Bab and 18 letters of the living, and 5 others will come in future. So far we do not know who these 5 others are, he says. He does not include himself as one of the 5. He says 5 others. So they asked Abdul-Baha, who are these people? He said the Bab and 18 letters of the living, plus 5 others will come in the future. Wow, so the elders, I found out in the Baha'i dictionary, is also guardians. And then when he talks about the future guardians, Shoghi Effendi, he says a startling word. He says that they could be infinitely inferior to Abdul-Baha. Well, certainly no Baha'i, no human being is infinitely inferior to Abdul-Baha. But he says these guardians, they may. So he's giving warning that don't fight with these guardians. The most important part of the issue is that we all know about progressive revelations that one prophet is not the last, again is coming. There's also progressive guardianship within the Baha'i faith. Again, page 300, special institution, guardianship in light of guidance. I'm paraphrasing. Shoghi Effendi says to somebody that if you believe God talks through Baha'u'llah to us, so it should be, the logical projection of this is that Baha'u'llah also, when he's ascended, he'll choose certain people, i.e. the guardians, to take care of the matter. So in that case, it seems guardians are always around. Now the issue remains that, okay, what's this position of these guardians or elders, which Abdul-Baha called me one of them. We all know universal laws of justice is infallible, but there's a conditional infallibility over the universal laws of justice, especially over these individuals. I'm going to read you some quotations. One of the things universal laws of justice will not do, has not done yet, and they claim they want, is that they cannot interpret the writings. They can't say what the meaning of word is. They cannot legislate the law. And they themselves say that one has to know the meaning of word, interpretations of the underlying significance of writing is in order to enact a law. Therefore, they can't without having guardians around. The second thing is that they, of course, you know that they cannot revoke the laws of Baha'u'llah. They have to be within the framework of the Baha'i faith. And finally, they cannot interfere in the institution of guardianships. They can't. Shoghi Effendi says in the order of Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i dispensation that none of these institutions can infringe upon the God-given right of the other ones. I'm paraphrasing. All of this I have written in a book called The Final Episode to the Baha'i Covenant. It's right on the website if you'd like to go to see it. So, what's my job? Okay, I'm an elder. What am I supposed to do now? What is the job of an elder is? The job is again, very seriously furnished right in the World Order of Baha'u'llah. I'm paraphrasing. Shoghi Effendi says there are two institutions, universal laws of justice and institution of guardianships. He says these two, they have a relationship, both of them, to Abdul-Baha and Shoghi Effendi, to Baha'u'llah. He says, I have not completely and perfectly described this for you. I'm only giving you some salient features. The future interpreters, they would have to come to do this. So until such time the future interpreters comes in the Baha'i faith, according to Shoghi Effendi, we really do not know what is the relationship of universal laws of justice to Abdul-Baha and Baha'u'llah. And what is the relationship of institution of guardianship to Baha'u'llah and Abdul-Baha? And what is also the relationship of these two institutions together? It's not completely clear, he says. This is what future interpreters have to do it. Okay, future interpreter. Are these members of universal laws of justice? No, they can't interpret. Are these ordinary Baha'is they have to interpret? No, they can't interpret. It's not their jobs. So interpreters or elders, or i.e. the guardians, are people that they have to come in the future. Okay? This was a problem for poor Charles Mason Remy, who was a very well-known hands of the cause of God, who discovered this and then let the other hands of the cause of God to know about it, that something is missing here. They told him, listen, you're one hand of the cause and we're 26. In the writing says that the decisions of the majority have to be obeyed by the others. You're one, we're 26. We tell you let go of these things. He was claiming he's the spiritual son of Abdul-Baha and all that things. It was not acceptable. And plus they told him, even if Shoghi Effendi had a guardian, we hands of the cause, we have to approve of it. If we don't approve it, Shoghi will have to change the guardians. So he's not around, and you were one of the people that you went into the private room of Shoghi Effendi along with 8 others, and all of you claim that there is no successor. So we cannot create a successor for Shoghi Effendi. It can't be one of them. So Mason Remy is wrong. Why? Is because he was called hands of the cause of God, and this guy, self-promoted himself to another station. Even if he was not a hand of the cause, and when he would say, I am a guardian or elder, okay, I would think about it. But because he was called hands of the cause of God, in order for him to be a guardian, he has to cancel and revoke his station, something that he cannot do because Shoghi Effendi is infallible and called him guardian, called him hands of the cause. So the hands of the cause cannot promote himself higher than it. This station is given to the individual to stop him from going further up. Same thing what happened with Azal. Azal was told by Bab, you're the chief of the Babi, which means among the Babis, you're the chief to do whatever. So you can't even dispute with Baha'u'llah, which he did. The title was telling you that don't go further more than what I told you. Don't claim your successors, don't claim your new manifestation, don't claim that you have any position. Your position is being restricted by me calling you what? The one that I call you. All right. All of these things that I've said to you, you may please go to the first video and the second video of this series. You can completely see all the writings about this issue of guardianship to read it. And also in the video 53, the reason behind my excommunication. You can read that too in detail. Tonight I'm going to talk about something else. You're American people, my God, you're Anglo-Saxon race. You are the people that built a new planet, a new version. Canada, United States, Australia, New Zealand. All of it is built by the Anglo-Saxon, the race from England. The planet Earth is made by England. And what a wonderful building, because the whole world wants to become the member of these countries. That is something to say about this. So, you have been called in the Baha'i faith for many, many, many privileges and many things in your destiny. All of it is pending on what you want to do though. But before I continue this, I have to go back to say that therefore I'm not a covenant breaker. I've been mistakenly called a covenant breaker because I believe in the Bab, I believe in Baha'u'llah, I believe in Abdul Baha, I believe in Shoghi Effendi. I absolutely believe in the institution of universal laws of justice, national spiritual assemblies, and the local spiritual assemblies as well. Everything that's written in the book, I'm completely a believer of that. Now, if I don't accept the decisions of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Canada, for that you can't call me a non-Baha'i. I'm still a Baha'i. I don't believe in that particular decision. It's not the revelations. Let the next assembly comes and decide something. In the same manner, in the Baha'i faith is written to all of the Baha'is, including me, you, that we have to be watchful that the decisions of universal laws of justice do not infringe over the writing of Baha'u'llah. Has to be within an hour. Well, then we're all a watchdog. We have to watch for this. Because there's no guardian to watch for this, so what do? We have to look. These decisions of the universal laws of justice and my treatment was very bad. Because in front of my ex-wife and my ex-friend, I talked to the